Hello class and welcome to my tutorial video for week 4 chapter 3, and I'm very glad to be with you this afternoon. I tried recording the video earlier and I had a few challenges and I've had to start all over again, and so you realize that some of the answers have already been answered. That was because I was trying to do it the first time and I had small challenges, but I'll go over again to enable us to understand what I've done so far, and then we can continue through to the end. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And so the question that we have for today is a tabular analysis of the transactions made during August 2017 by Columba Company during its first month of operations. So what we know is that this is the first month of Columba's operation, and also that it is their very first time. So we're going to go through the transactions. To enable us to go through the transactions, I have copied all of the information that was here in the tabular analysis, and I have brought it into an Excel sheet to help make it easier for us to go through the calculations and the entries. So we will go back to our question. The very first thing we demanded to do was to prepare an income statement. To do that, what I did was that I first gave the label of the income statement. The label is that for the month ended August 31st, 2017. This is because an income statement is over a period of time. And so we are going to find out for the month ended. So the whole month of August is what we are looking at. And we start with our revenues. And for our revenues, we realize that there was only one revenue entry made by Columba Company, and that was for service revenue. And so we come over here and we type in our service revenue, and afterwards type the amount that is supposed to be there, which is $10,600. After that, we go and type in our expenses, and we realize that there are 3 expenses that were incurred and entered by Columba Company for the month of August. The very first one was the rent expense. You type over here, it was $890. And then the salaries and wages expense, which was $2,400. And the last one was the utility expense, which was $340. To help us get a total of that, we can just come back here and do a sum. So equal to sum, and then we take the 3 numbers and be sure to separate each number with a comma and end with a parenthesis. And it gives us the value of 3,630. It is shown in red because it is a negative number and it's shown in parentheses. And so this is $3,360 for the total expenses. Now, to get our total, our net income or loss, we go to sum again, and then we pick our revenue and we add it to the expense. We add because the expense is already in red, which means it's already negative. And so if you put a negative sign, it will become positive. So in this case, you have to add. So when you add, it gives you the $6,970. If you try and do a subtraction, it will give you a larger amount, which is wrong, because it will negate it twice. So please take note, if you tamper with the Excel sheet, you make sure that you follow the rules through to the end. Then after we had done that, we submitted an answer, and then we got the net income or loss to be $6,970. The next step is to now create a retained earnings statement. Remember that a retained earnings statement would also be for a period of time. So over a period of a month, so we have to title our retained earnings statement for the month ended August 31, 2017. And to do that, we start with the beginning retained earnings. And so we go to the question and we realize that Columba Company had just begun operations. So it is their first month. Because it's their first month, they would not have any retained earnings that they will carry over from the previous months. So let's take note. It is their first month of operations, and so there won't be any retained earnings at the beginning of the month, which is the 1st August, and so that will be 0. Then we add our net income, which we calculated for in the earlier one, which is $6,970. Then we find the total, which is the same $6,970. Then we reduce it by the dividends. Remember, in our table analysis, we are told on number 6 that Kalumba Company paid $2,100 as dividends. To get our answer, we can come here and do equals to this number, which is the number, the retained earnings, the net income plus the beginning retained earnings. Then we add this to our dividend, and we get the value remaining, which is $4,870. So that is the retained earnings at the end of the month, August 31st. Please take note, is at the end of the month, August 31st. Then the next thing we're supposed to do is to put in our, information for the balance sheet. For the balance sheet, we need to put in certain informations, and we have to put the information in according to the way they have been set out. We will start with the title. For the balance sheet, the title should be at the end of the month, because the balance sheet is always taken at a peak in time. And so it's not over a period of time, but at one particular point in time, that is when we take the balance sheet report. And so we take it at the end of the month, which is the very last day of the month. And so this is the outlook of the company at the end, the last day of the month. Please take note, it's very, very important. And then we start with our current assets. We have 3 current assets over here. You have cash, you have accounts receivable, and we have supplies. Those are our current assets. Then we have equipment, which are our long-term assets. So for the very first one, we start with cash. Immediately you start typing, it will show for you to choose from. And then for our cash, we need to calculate all of this. The sum of all of this would give us the cash at the end of the month. And so we go to sum, and then we put in parentheses. Then we select all of this and close the brackets, hit enter. So at the end of the month, as of August 31st, the cash that was at hand was $19,320. And then for accounts receivable, we have to also calculate the total, which is equals to the sum and then we close the brackets, hit enter, and it's 5,930. So 5,930 or 59.30. And then for our supplies, which is the last of our current assets. And it's important to list all of these in order of liquidity, which means that we are listing them as how quickly they can be turned into cash. The supplies will be 700. So for the whole month, they had supplies of 700 as assets. Then we go to the total current assets. Total current assets total current assets will be the total of this, this, and this. So we can do this over here by doing equals to sum of this, then we put a comma, this, another comma, this, and then we end the parenthesis. Hit enter, and then we have $25,950 for our total current assets. Then we have our equipment. So for the equipment, we have a total of 4,960. So $4,960. And so our total assets will be the sum of these two. And so total assets will be here. You can say equals to this plus our equipment. Hit enter. So total assets will be $30,910. Then we move on to the next part, which is the liabilities and stockholders' equity. For the liabilities as well, too, we start with our current liabilities. In the question over here, we had only one account for liabilities. Only one account for liabilities. And so to help us calculate all of this, we can just come over here and say equals to sum of all of this and hit enter. And so for our current liabilities, we have accounts payable, which has a total of $1,640. $1,640. And then we have common stock. We have stockholders' equity, sorry. And we start that with common stock. So for common stock, we had $24,400 of common stock that was issued at the beginning of the month when the company began its operations. So common stock, after we have inputted our accounts payable, put to common stock. Then we go to our retained earnings. For the month of August ended 31st, our retained earnings are supposed to be the sum of all of this. And so we can find that over here from the retained earnings statement, which is $4,870. So we come back here and enter $4,870 for the retained earnings. Then we enter a total stockholders' equity, which will be the sum of the common stock and the retained earnings. And so if we take that, we can do this over here by equals to this, which is the retained earnings, which is the common stock for the month of August, and this, which is the retained earnings for the month of August.